Dr. Phil McGraw, a name almost every American household knows. With his sharp voice, straight-shooting advice, and signature Southern drawl, Dr. Phil became more than just a TV personality. He became a cultural icon. Millions tuned in every week as he counseled families, mediated conflicts, and offered guidance that felt like tough love from a trusted friend. For decades, he was the face of daytime television, but while the cameras focused on his booming career away from the spotlight, Dr. Phil was also a husband, and more importantly, a father. He and his wife Robin raised two sons, Jay and Jordan, and though they were born into privilege, carrying the McGraw name came with its own set of challenges. How do you grow up in the shadow of one of the most famous men in America? How do you carve your own identity when your father dominates the headlines? The McGraw boys didn't take the same path as their father. Far from it. One son turned to television, working behind the scenes as a producer and businessman, shaping stories of his own. The other followed his passion for music, chasing the dream of becoming an artist in a world that didn't always take him seriously. Each carved a life unique from Dr. Phil, but always connected to him. Their stories are filled with ambition, love, setbacks, and reinvention. And together, they form a picture of a family that, while touched by fame, is also grounded by something much more important: the bonds of family. This is the untold story of Dr. Phil's two sons, Jay and Jordan, and where they are now. Before we can understand the lives of Dr. Phil's sons, we first need to look at the man who shaped their world. Philip Calvin McGraw, better known today as Dr. Phil, was born in Vinita, Oklahoma in 1950. His early years were far from glamorous. He grew up in a working-class family where money was tight and opportunities didn't come easy. But even then, young Phil had an undeniable drive, a hunger to push past limitations and prove himself. In his youth, he excelled as an athlete, particularly in football. That determination eventually led him to study psychology. It was a turning point, because psychology gave Phil something he had been searching for his whole life: a way to understand people, to dissect emotions, and to get to the root of human behavior. He didn't just want to listen to people's problems. He wanted to cut through the noise and deliver solutions. That no-nonsense approach to psychology would eventually bring him into contact with one of the most powerful figures in media, Oprah Winfrey. In the late 1990s, Oprah brought Dr. Phil onto her show as a regular guest expert, and audiences were hooked. His plain-spoken style, his willingness to say what others wouldn't, and his tough love approach made him a star in his own right. Within just a few years, Dr. Phil had his own nationally syndicated talk show, and soon became a household name across America. But while the world saw him as a TV psychologist and celebrity, behind the spotlight he was something else entirely: a husband to Robin, and the father of two young boys, Jay and Jordan. His rise to fame would not only change his life, but theirs as well. Growing up in the McGraw household meant living in the orbit of one of television's biggest personalities, and that came with both opportunities and challenges. Before long, the McGraw family name was everywhere. And for Jay and Jordan, life would never be ordinary again. As Dr. Phil's career skyrocketed in the late 1990s and early 2000s, his family was quietly adapting to life in the spotlight. At the heart of the McGraw household was his wife, Robin, whom he had married back in 1976. Robin wasn't just a partner in name. She was by his side through every stage of his journey, from his early career as a psychologist to his transformation into a media giant. She was the steady anchor, the supportive presence, and eventually a recognizable television personality in her own right, often appearing alongside her husband on the Dr. Phil show. Together they raised two sons, Jay, the eldest, born in 1979, and Jordan, the youngest, born in 1986. To the outside world, they were simply Dr. Phil's children, but inside the family, they were treated with the same values Dr. Phil often preached to millions: accountability, honesty, and the importance of pursuing your passions. Growing up, Jay and Jordan experienced a childhood unlike most. On one hand, they were surrounded by extraordinary privilege. They lived in beautiful homes, traveled widely, and met some of the most influential people in television and entertainment. On the other hand, their lives were shaped by the constant shadow of fame. Every move their father made was magnified, and by extension so was theirs. Robin was determined to give her boys as normal a childhood as possible. She focused on instilling discipline, family traditions, and stability. Dr. Phil, meanwhile, was often working long hours filming or preparing for shows, but he always emphasized the importance of family first. When he wasn't on set or traveling for media appearances, he was a dad, the man who sat at the dinner table, encouraged his sons in school, and pushed them to find their own voices in the world. But as the boys grew older, it became clear that each would take very different paths. Jay, the firstborn, leaned toward television and business, following in his father's footsteps but behind the scenes. Jordan, on the other hand, felt the call of music and creativity, a direction that would lead him down a very different and sometimes unpredictable road. This balance between privilege, pressure, and personal choice would define the McGraw brothers' journeys. And while the world often focused only on their father, Jay and Jordan were quietly carving out identities of their own. Jay McGraw, the firstborn son of Dr. Phil and Robin, entered the world in 1979. From an early age, Jay carried both the privileges and the expectations that came with being Dr. Phil's child. But even as a boy, Jay showed signs that he wasn't simply going to ride on his father's fame. He was going to carve out his own path. Education became a major part of Jay's journey. He attended the University of Texas, where he studied psychology, a field that naturally echoed his father's career. But Jay wasn't content to simply follow the exact same road. After completing his undergraduate degree, he went on to earn a law degree from Southern Methodist University. This combination of psychology and law gave Jay a unique perspective, an interest in human behavior paired with a sharp understanding of structure and rules. By his early 20s, Jay was already stepping into the spotlight in his own way. Unlike his father, who spoke to adults about their struggles, Jay saw a different audience that needed guidance: teenagers. In the early 2000s, he authored a series of self-help books geared toward young people, tackling topics like peer pressure, self-confidence, and decision-making. The books, including Life Strategies for Teens, resonated with a younger generation who needed straightforward advice they could relate to. For Jay, writing wasn't just about following in his father's footsteps. It was about connecting with people on his own terms. His style was accessible, practical, and rooted in the same tough-love honesty his father was famous for, but tailored to a new audience. The success of these books positioned Jay not just as Dr. Phil's son, but as a voice for teens, navigating the challenges of growing up in an increasingly complicated world. But Jay's ambitions didn't stop at writing. As the years went by, he began to step deeper into the world of television and media production, a move that would take him behind the camera, where he could create, shape, and build programs that informed and entertained millions. While Jay McGraw found early success as an author, it wasn't long before he turned his attention to the medium that had defined his father's empire: television. But Jay didn't want to stand in front of the cameras giving advice like Dr. Phil. Instead, he wanted to create the shows that brought those conversations into people's living rooms. Working alongside his father, Jay became deeply involved in Stage 29 Productions, the family's media company. There he learned the ins and outs of producing, how to develop a concept, pitch a show, and bring it to life for a national audience. His natural eye for storytelling and his drive to build something of his own quickly paid off. In 2008, Jay helped launch The Doctors, a daytime talk show spin-off from Dr. Phil. While his father had built a brand on psychology and relationships, The Doctors focused on health and wellness. The show brought together a panel of physicians who broke down medical topics in a way viewers could understand. From everyday health tips to life-saving advice, The Doctors became an instant hit, earning daytime Emmy Awards and cementing Jay's reputation as more than just Dr. Phil's son. As executive producer, Jay was the driving force behind the scenes. He shaped the show's tone, guided its content, and ensured it struck the balance between informative and engaging. His ability to create relatable television was proof that he had inherited not only his father's instincts, but also his work ethic. Beyond The Doctors, Jay expanded his portfolio, developing and producing a variety of programs under Stage 29. His work reached millions of viewers, showing that his career was not built solely on his father's name, but on his own creativity and leadership. By his early 30s, Jay McGraw had built a reputation as a successful producer, a sharp businessman, and a respected figure in television. He had found his lane, not competing with his father, but building a parallel legacy of his own. And while his professional life flourished, his personal life was about to make headlines in its own way. By the late 2000s, Jay McGraw wasn't just a successful author and television producer. he was also building a life of his own, away from the spotlight. And just like his father, Jay believed in the importance of family. In 2006, Jay married Erica Dahm, one of the famous Dahm triplets, who had gained recognition as models and TV personalities in the 1990s. Their wedding was a glamorous affair, celebrated by family, friends, and of course, covered by the media. But beyond the glitz, Jay and Erica shared a down-to-earth bond. Together, they built a family life rooted in love, tradition, and privacy, even as they lived under the constant eye of fame. The couple went on to have 2 children, a daughter and a son. For Jay, fatherhood became one of his proudest roles. He often spoke about wanting to be as present in his children's lives as his own father had been for him, despite the demands of a busy career. At home, Jay wasn't a TV producer or the son of Dr. Phil. He was simply Dad. Unlike many celebrity families who thrive on publicity, Jay and Erica chose to keep their children mostly out of the spotlight. Their approach was intentional, to give their kids the opportunity to grow up with as much normalcy as possible, something Jay himself had struggled with in his youth. Still, fans occasionally caught glimpses of their family life through social media posts or rare public appearances, and those small windows into their world revealed a happy, grounded family. For Jay, his personal life has always been about balance. On one side, the fast-paced world of television production, where deadlines, ratings, and big ideas dominate his days. On the other, the quiet joys of family, being a husband, a father, and a provider. It's that balance that has allowed him to not only succeed professionally, but also live a meaningful, fulfilling life privately. While Jay's career and family thrived, his younger brother Jordan was preparing to step onto a very different stage. Where Jay found success behind the camera, Jordan longed for the spotlight of his own, but not in television. His passion was music. If Jay McGraw was the steady hand who followed in his father's footsteps through books and television, Jordan McGraw was the wild card. Born in 1986, Jordan grew up in the same household of privilege and fame as his older brother, but from a young age it was clear his interests were different. While Jay gravitated toward business, psychology, and media, Jordan found himself drawn to rhythm, melody, and the freedom of music. As a child, Jordan loved instruments. The guitar in particular became his passion. What started as a hobby quickly grew into something much more serious. He wasn't interested in psychology sessions or production meetings. He wanted to create, perform, and express himself in a way that words alone couldn't capture. Being the son of Dr. Phil came with both perks and pitfalls. On one hand, Jordan had the resources and support to chase his dream of music. On the other, his name carried a weight. People often assumed opportunities came easily to him because of his father's fame. Jordan, however, was determined to prove that he could stand on his own, not as Dr. Phil's kid, but as a legitimate artist in his own right. Throughout his 20s, Jordan pursued his music career relentlessly. He joined bands, wrote songs, and spent time on the road, performing in small venues and slowly building a name for himself. His sound blended elements of pop, rock, and alternative music, influenced not by the world of television where he grew up, but by the bands and artists he admired. Though his journey wasn't as smooth or straightforward as Jay's, Jordan embraced the unpredictability. For him, success wasn't about ratings or book sales. It was about connecting with an audience through music, and that drive would eventually put him on some impressive stages, both as a solo artist and as part of bands that toured nationally. While Jay McGraw was quietly shaping television from behind the scenes, Jordan McGraw was out chasing the lights of the stage. Music wasn't just a side interest for him, it was his identity. From the mid-2000s onward, Jordan committed himself to the grind of building a music career, no matter how unpredictable it might be. In the early years, Jordan joined and formed several bands, experimenting with sound and style. One of his most notable groups was 100-Handed, a pop-rock band known for its catchy hooks and energetic performances. The band gained traction, performing at clubs and mid-sized venues, releasing music that reached a growing fan base online. But Jordan's career wasn't confined to small rooms and bar stages. Over time, he began making connections in the music industry, landing opportunities to tour with established artists. His ability to blend pop melodies with rock energy made him a versatile performer. As a guitarist and frontman, he showcased both technical skill and charisma, slowly stepping out of his father's shadow and into a spotlight of his own. Of course, being Dr. Phil's son came with its share of skepticism. Critics questioned whether his career was built on talent or connections. Jordan had to work twice as hard to prove he belonged in the music world. He spent years on the road, performing live shows, refining his sound, and building credibility with fans one concert at a time. Eventually, Jordan transitioned into a solo career, where he embraced a more polished pop sound. His singles found success on streaming platforms, and his music videos drew in a dedicated online following. In 2020, Jordan's career took another leap forward when he joined the Jonas Brothers as their opening act on tour. Performing in front of packed arenas, he reached audiences that might never have discovered him otherwise. For Jordan, this was validation. He wasn't just Dr. Phil's son who played guitar. He was Jordan McGraw, a performer, a songwriter, and a musician earning his place in the industry. His career had its highs and lows, but through persistence, he carved out an identity completely separate from daytime television. While Jordan McGraw built a career in music, his personal life became another chapter of his story, one that showed a softer, more grounded side. For years, Jordan's name was linked to his music and his famous last name. But in 2020, he stepped into a new role that would forever change him: husband and father. In August of that year, Jordan married Morgan Stewart, a television personality best known for her work on E! And Nightly Pop. Their relationship quickly became a favorite subject in celebrity media, not because of scandal, but because of the genuine connection between the two. Where Jordan brought a free-spirited musician's lifestyle, Morgan brought a sharp wit and on-screen confidence. Together, they became a modern celebrity couple with a balance of love, laughter, and mutual respect. Just months after their marriage, the couple welcomed their first child, a daughter named Ro. Not long after, their family grew again with the arrival of their son, Gray. For Jordan, becoming a father shifted his perspective. The man who once spent nights chasing the rush of the stage was now embracing the quiet joys of parenthood, from bedtime stories to family outings. Fans got a glimpse of this new chapter through social media, where Jordan and Morgan shared moments of their growing family. Unlike the polished image of his father on national TV, Jordan's posts often showed him in a more relaxed light, holding his kids, laughing with Morgan, or playing guitar at home. In many ways, Jordan's personal life became his anchor. While music remained his passion, his family gave him something deeper, a sense of purpose beyond fame or recognition. He was no longer just chasing the dream of proving himself as an artist. He was building a life, one rooted in love, commitment, and family legacy. When people think of Dr. Phil, they think of television dominance, booming ratings, and a man who wasn't afraid to say what needed to be said. But perhaps his greatest legacy is not the show that made him famous, nor the empire he built, but the two sons who have carried pieces of his spirit in very different ways. Jay McGraw represents stability, structure, and continuity. In many ways, he is the mirror of his father, measured, disciplined, and focused on building a brand. But instead of sitting in front of the camera, Jay chose to build from behind it. His work on The Doctors and other television projects ensured that the McGraw influence extended well beyond the Dr. Phil show. Jay became the architect of stories, the man who shaped conversations without needing to be the face of them. His path is one of quiet power, successful, consistent, and deeply respected in the industry. Jordan McGraw, on the other hand, embodies creativity and risk. Where Jay followed order, Jordan followed passion. He chased the unpredictable world of music, where success isn't guaranteed and credibility must be earned. Jordan's legacy is one of perseverance, the willingness to start small, take criticism, and still push forward until the music spoke for itself. And while he may not have chosen psychology or television, his path reflects the same McGraw determination, to make his own mark on the world, no matter the obstacles. Together, the brothers highlight two sides of their father's influence. Jay shows us discipline and strategy. Jordan shows us individuality and heart, and while their careers couldn't be more different, both men reflect a piece of the lessons Dr. Phil instilled in them: to believe in yourself, to work hard, and to never shy away from pursuing your purpose. The McGraw legacy is not just about one man. It is about a family, a father who built an empire, and two sons who built lives of their own, carrying that legacy in ways only they could. Today, the McGraw family stands as a testament to what it means to balance fame with family. While Dr. Phil prepares for new chapters in his own career, after 2 decades of television dominance, his sons continue to thrive in their own lanes. J. McGraw remains an accomplished television producer, running Stage 29 Productions and continuing to shape the stories millions of viewers see each day. At the same time, he is a devoted husband and father, focused on raising his children with the same values his parents instilled in him. His life is one of steady success, both professionally and personally. Jordan McGraw continues to write, record, and perform music, steadily carving his place in the industry. His tours, singles, and growing fan base prove that his determination is paying off. But beyond the stage lights, his proudest role is that of husband to Morgan Stewart and father to their 2 young children. For Jordan, family is the anchor that gives his music meaning and his journey purpose. As for Dr. Phil and Robin, they have embraced not only the role of parents, but now of grandparents, watching their sons build families of their own. And for all the cameras, headlines, and fame that have surrounded them, the McGraws have found something far more important than recognition: legacy. In the end, the story of Jay and Jordan McGraw isn't just about what happened to Dr. Phil's 2 sons. It's about how they chose to step into the world, find their own voices, and live authentically. Whether through producing television or creating music, each in their own way has shown that while the McGraw name may have opened doors, it was their own talent, drive, and determination that kept those doors open. And that is perhaps the greatest lesson they inherited from their father, because while Dr. Phil shaped millions of lives on TV, his greatest achievement may just be the family he raised at home.